What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours, and the main theme of this video is January transfer window. We have so many updates. We have, of course, injury updates on Gavi, Ter Stegen, and Jong. Some reports about Balde's lack of competition in the squad. Barcelona want to sell Oriol Romeu in the summer, but mainly on January. What's the club's priority? What can they get? Of course, with the Gavi injury, they are looking at midfielders. We have been linked with a lot of midfielders: Fabian Ruiz, Carlos Soler, Thiago Alcantara, Guido Rodriguez, Dani Parejo, even the return maybe a Pablo Torre from loan. But of course, or the club could go for Vitor Roque in the summer. We do have reports about him. Of course, he's coming back from injury as well, which is a positive sign. Tottenham have been very keen on Raphinha recently and have been offering some swap deals as well with Barcelona. They've offered Cristian Romero and even Giovani Lo Celso, who Barcelona also won as a midfield option in January. So we're going to dissect that January transfer window, what the club can and can't do, what's the priority, what the club are thinking, and also how we're looking in terms of financial fair play as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is one of the best replica football jersey websites on the market right now. They have a variety of different items at absolutely fantastic prices. For me here today, I'm going to show you guys the training kit from this season. This is the warm-up kit that the players use when they go out for training every single day, pre-games as well. You have here the Spotify logo. They have the club badge on it with the diamond as well. And I also have here one of the sweaters they have from last season. This was the Catalunya version. It feels like I bought this from the Nike store directly. The quality is absolutely unreal. The printing is fantastic. And of course, mainly the prices are unbeatable. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get an additional 15% off your final order. That is BOY. Use it at checkout. You get 15% off your order, and all orders above $80 as well will guarantee you free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Click the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's first discuss the biggest news, of course, around Barcelona over the past 48 hours, and that has been the injury of Gavi, which kind of leads into a lot of the transfer news. So that's why I want to kick off with this first. We do have other injury updates later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, I want to cover the news in regards to Gavi. As you all probably know, the club did confirm that tests carried out a few days ago have shown that Gavi suffered from a complete tear of his anterior cruciate ligament in his right knee and an injury to his meniscus. So not only did he get the Ansu Fati injury, but he tore his ACL as well. He will undergo surgery in the next few days, after which a new medical report will be provided. Now, his surgery is scheduled for November the 28th, which is this upcoming Tuesday, which funny enough is the same day we play against Porto in the Champions League. So after the surgery is completed, the club will give the timeline and what's going to happen next for Gavi. But there, of course, have been already some leaks in regards to his timeline. Having Miguel from AES came out saying that Gavi's test results are worse than expected, along with the rupture of his ACL. The meniscus of the knee is also affected. He will be out for around 7 to 9 months. So we won't even see Gavi until the start of next season. I think his goal, hopefully, that if he can make it, great for preseason. So I'm thinking July 2024, but I think that's going to be a push now. If he's fully fit for the start of next season, that'll be a positive. We're at that point now where he's probably going to come after, he will be coming back after the first international break of next season. So it is a big blow, of course, and there are some updates around his injury, what the long-term effect is in regards to FFP, and also, of course, the compensation from FIFA. Now, firstly, Raccoon came out saying that when there is a long-term injury equal to more than 4 months, the club could sign a player of 80% of his cost, i.e. the salary for that season. La Liga does not take into account whether the club is exceeding FFP or not. We'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but again, Gavi's salary now can be used to sign current players that we want to replace him. Now, if you remember back in the day when it was Suarez, I believe, just before COVID, he had some injury. They ruled him out for about 5 or 6 months, and it was after the January transfer window that the club used the rule where you can sign an emergency player. We end up signing Braithwaite. That rule is no longer in effect, so Barcelona cannot go and sign someone from La Liga freely outside the window. That rule has been taken out, but the salary of Gavi can be used, which is very important. And of course, hopefully that salary will be covered by FIFA. Roger from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Barcelona could receive around 4 to 5 million euros in total as compensation from FIFA for Gavi's long-term injury, but it's no consolation for the club as they have lost an important player for the rest of the season. Now, the rule is for FIFA is that after 28 days he's been injured, that day starts 20,000 euros per day for however long he's injured. So for the first 28 days, we don't get paid anything, but after that, 20,000 euros per every day that Gavi's injured. So we could be netting around 4 to 5 million euros from FIFA, and that does cap out, I believe, at a year. So once we have passed the 28 days, there's now 365 days of compensation. If he doesn't make it after that, then FIFA don't compensate for that. So there is that to like the a 0.1 bright light in this whole entire situation. So again, with Gavi, he'll be out probably until September 2024, which is crazy and devastating, but you know, it is now on the focus of recovery. Surgery will be this Tuesday. After that, the club will release another medical report about the successfulness, hopefully, of the surgery. Again, his salary now can be used for financial fair play and to sign players to replace him. And FIFA will be compensating Barcelona around 4 to 5 million euros on the injury to Gavi. Now, the big question around Barcelona over the past 48 hours has been, of course, what's going to happen in January. Now, the priority was Vitor Roque, and the priority was a pivot. Now we got to go get any midfielder that can probably play the pivot and as an interior as well. What's going through the minds right now of the Barcelona board? Mundo Deportivo reporting that the priority for the coaching staff is signing a midfielder before Vitor Roque after Gavi's departure, and given the delicate situation of financial fair play, the staff considers it more important now to reinforce the midfield. The ideal scenario would be to sign Vitor Roque and a midfielder, but the reality is financial fair play will once again condition the January transfer window. Barcelona want a midfielder, but the top players are playing for big clubs who will not let them leave in the middle of the season. It would have to be some exponential case, someone who's not having minutes, uncountable, and might force an exit. But at Barcelona, they say, and keep in mind this quote, very, very important, there will be no signings for the sake of signing with regards to the winter market. So the club now going to be deciding what they want to do in the winter. Apparently, the coaching staff are very adamant that they want Vitor Roque, who of course we've already signed, and a midfielder to come in. But Barcelona state, we're not going to go and just sign someone for the sake of it. We want to sign someone that has some sort of a plan and is a player that Barcelona wants. Now, Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that with Gavi's injury, that could change Barcelona's transfer plans. The priority was in January to bring in Vitor Roque, but now they could also be looking at about signing a midfielder. Now, in regards to the midfield signing, I think it's definitely possible, especially with the fact now that you can use Gavi's salary to bring in a midfielder. I think the club should definitely be looking at a midfielder and Vitor Roque, but who to prioritize is up for a matter up for debate. In my opinion, I'll tell you guys what I think in just a few seconds. Sport also came out saying that Deco's not looking for a signing to replace Gavi with Champions League level on a loan deal in January. The arrival of this emergency signing will not affect the incorporation of Vitor Roque at all. So Sport is saying that Vitor Roque and a midfielder is possible, but now they are beginning to search for a midfielder. Now, of course, one of the key aspects for the January transfer window will be the liberal football finance, financial fair play, economic lever that was activated, of course, in August, where Barcelona sold, I think, around 25% of Barcelona studios and still haven't received the money quite yet. Candace have come out saying that Barcelona are beginning to assume that Liberal, which bought 9.8% of Barca studios last summer, will not pay the agreed amount, 40 million euros. The German company have still not paid a single euro, and the club has been looking for new investors for weeks. How do you agree to buy a share of Barcelona, or just anywhere in general, and then just ghost for 3 months? That makes no sense. I think this is a bit poor on the club as well. Once it's been a month, they haven't paid a single euro. You absolutely just cut them off and find someone else. It's very, very weird, but again, now we have about a month and a few days for Barcelona to sort out someone else, another investor, to buy this 9.8% of Barca Studio for around 30 to 40 million euros, because that money is needed in January. Let's now discuss that January market quite a bit more. There are reports coming in saying that Barcelona will not be able to sign a replacement for Gavi until the winter market. Of course, in 2020, the RFEF eliminated the possibility of signing someone replacement long-term injuries outside the transfer window, i.e. the Braithwaite Suarez that I talked about. But Barcelona have to meet certain requirements before signing a substitute for Gavi. Firstly, the club would have 30 days to request for a signing from La Liga. Secondly, they must prove the injury lasted more than 4 months. Thirdly, they can use 80% of what Gavi earns to sign a substitute. That's going to be very, very important. And keep in mind, of course, Gavi did renew his contract. Whether his contract was registered or not is a question up for grabs. But having that 80% salary from Gavi is crucial. I think he probably earns around 100,000, 130,000 a week. You can use 80% of that. That's, I think, enough to get in a decent midfielder on a loan for sure, and even also register Vitor Roque. I'm at the point now where I think that Vitor Roque is guaranteed to come in. Not only does Xavi want him, the club signed him. There's now definitely room on FFP, whether we have the economic lever or not, because we now have the 80% of the Gavi's salary. So whether that Gavi salary can go to any signing or has to go to a substitute for him remains to be seen. For me, I am on the mindset that Vitor Roque should be the priority, and I will tell you why. I think Barcelona, dare I say it, have enough to survive with Gavi for the season. Because of course you have Frenkie de Jong, Pedri, Gundogan, Romeu, Roberto as first team midfielders. You have Fermin Lopez as well. But one thing that's not being taken to note that people should be considering, of course, Raphinha has been playing in that midfield position, covering for Gavi in quite a few games. There have been reports saying that Xavi might try out Raphinha from now until January if he performs well. No midfielder, but if he doesn't perform well, then we get a midfielder, which I wouldn't mind. But I think if you have those options, you have Raphinha, because if Raphinha drops in the midfield, you then bring in Vitor Roque up front. You have some attacking competition. You can have a front three, let's say, for instance, of Ferran Torres, Vitor Roque, João Felix, Raphinha, and behind you'll have Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal on the bench. I think no matter what, Vitor Roque for me has to be the priority. He's a player we've already signed. He's fully recovered from his injury. There's even pictures of him in training, by the way. We'll see if he plays how many minutes this weekend for his club. He fits the system. He's the player that we need. I think no matter what, Vitor Roque should be the priority. It's just now down to what we can do afterwards. I think if I were to predict the January transfer window, I would say Vitor Roque would arrive in the first 15 days, and then the final 48 hours we sign some random midfielder on loan as an emergency. That's what I think personally will happen, but we shall wait and see. But as the club now begin to delve in what they want to do in the transfer window, whether they want to have the priority of a midfielder or Vitor Roque, that's not quite known yet, but they need to start planning and assuming what they want to do now in the January transfer window, because that's going to be a very crucial month for Barcelona, not only for the window, but also in the football pitch as well. You have Copa del Rey coming, you have the Super Cup, of course, so a big month of January coming for Barcelona, and they have to start planning for it and also make big decisions before that. Now, despite the fact that it's unclear what the priority is for Barcelona in January, we had been linked with potential options in the midfield to come in, replace Gavi, and also provide some extra numbers for Barcelona. Gerard Romero from Gigantes, of course, has come out saying that Xavi's favorite options to replace Gavi for 6 months are as follows: Dani Parejo, Thiago Alcantara, and Guido Rodriguez. Those are the three players that Barcelona and Xavi want the most to come in to, quick solution. Of course, Guido Rodriguez contract expires this summer, Thiago's contract expires next summer, and I believe Dani Parejo's contract expires next summer, or probably this summer if I'm not mistaken. But Gerard Romero also came out saying the board believes that Gavi's position can be replaced within the players in the squad, and the board wants to bring in Vitor Roque in January 1st. I completely 100% agree with that. It also gives you time now to evaluate the squad the next month or so, see what happens, see how Raphinha plays there, see if Fermin Lopez absolutely shines, and then you can assess it afterwards. But these are not only the three players that we have been linked with. There are a lot, but on the continuing on this list, there have been reports about Thiago as well. Jordi Gil from Sport came out saying that Barcelona are considering signing Thiago Alcantara in January. His contract expires at the end of the season, and he would be a player who can offer immediate performance. Look, I think Thiago, if I could sign any midfielder in January that's realistic, it would be a fit Thiago. And that's the key there, fit. He, of course, had a injury that left him out for like 3, 4, 5 months, and then he came back, played a week, and now he's injured again. He's very, very injury prone ever since he left Bayern to join Liverpool. I think even Bayern, like a few months before that, he was getting niggling injuries here and there. So the track record in terms of injuries isn't quite there for Thiago, and the fact that he's coming in to replace someone who's injured doesn't really bode well for him. I would love Thiago back in Barcelona. I think he's exactly what we need. 6 interior. He can play in the 8 as well. Brilliant, but again, injuries is the main problem with him. But of course, there are some other weird options coming out as well. Mundo Deportivo have said that Fabian Ruiz and Carlos Soler are potential options to replace injured Gavi at Barcelona in January. Of course, we were offered these two players back in the summer with the Ousmane Dembele saga. 2 Spanish players. Of course, one played for Betis, one played for Valencia. Out of the two, I like Fabian Ruiz better. And honestly, for 6 months loan just to get some minutes, cover their salary, I wouldn't mind either of them, if I'm being completely honest. I think these are good options as well. I'd rather have these two than the likes of Guido Rodriguez, Dani Parejo. Although Dani Parejo as a 6, I think, would do a job as well. To be honest, these are all very good options, especially for the very short term, just 6 months, come in, however he comes in, loan, whatever. With Vitor Rodriguez, there have been reports about the Chedriet clause. Of course, they just want to buy Chedriet for 3 million. Say, oh, instead of buying him for 3 million, you just give him to us for free, and then we can just give you Vitor Rodriguez. So there are some niggling moves that Barcelona can make, of course. But one of the main names in the midfield that I've been talking about for a long time now, for the past probably like 4 or 5 months, has been Giovani Lo Celso, and his name is coming up again. Fran Martinez from Deportivo came out saying that Giovani Lo Celso on loan is the best option to replace Gavi. The coaches have considered midfield the priority ahead of Vitor Roque following Gavi's injury. So again, still contrary reports there. I think if the best option, I think 100% on the table right now is Lo Celso on loan. I would prefer Thiago, but he's not fit. I think Lo Celso needs some minutes. He has some hunger into him. He's absolutely a fantastic player. We've been following him for a long time. I think after Lo Celso, you get into the Fabian Ruiz, Carlos Soler section, and then you get into Thiago, and then maybe Dani Parejo as well. That's how I see the options personally. Also, Mundo Deportivo are reporting that Tottenham midfielder Giovani Lo Celso is back on the agenda at Barcelona for the January transfer window. He was already an option in the summer because Xavi and the coach staff liked him a lot, but in the end he stayed. His profile fits a replacement for Gavi. So wait and see in regards to that, but of course you can bet in-house as well. We have a few Barcelona midfielders doing well as well. Your Marc Casados, Alex Gaido, you have Fermin Lopez, of course, and you can maybe even recall we had a player last season that's now currently out on loan, Pablo Torre. There have been some reports saying that Pablo Torre does not count on Miguel, Girona's coach, and Barcelona could call him back in the January transfer window following Gavi's injuries. And there have been reports about Pablo Torre potentially being called back in January before the Gavi injury, but now afterwards makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? But again, recalling him, I think you guys have to pay some compensation to Girona. I'm not going to pay a club to get our own player back. That makes no sense. And I think Pablo Torre will get minutes, especially as Girona go deep into the season where they have Copa del Rey coming up and playing more games week in, week out. But for now, I guess Pablo Torre hasn't really broken in too much, but I think the situation with him will develop later on. But I think bringing him back on loan could be an option ahead of the likes of other players as well, because this would be the easiest avenue for Barcelona to execute. But like I've been saying a lot, and I'll say again, most likely no one's going to come in. Even Luis Rojo from Marcus come out saying that Barcelona are not really considering signing a midfielder to replace Gavi. They consider that the current squad is enough, and I can understand how they see that. But again, it's going to come down to what happens from now until January. Whether Raphinha does well in that midfield role, whether Fermin Lopez comes in does well, Gaido, Casado. What happens if we get another injury? Or again, Roberto's coming back. Roberto comes in, has a good month. The club might just say, you know what, we'll bet on Roberto. But again, we have to see how these players perform, because again, Romeu has been shocking. Roberto, for the minutes he's played this season, has been absolutely disgustingly poor. So it's going to come down to what's available in this in January, and also how the squad is currently looking as well. So we'll wait and see in regards to a potential midfield signing in January, but I think it's a general consensus that the priority will be Vitor Roque ahead of a midfielder, but the midfielder could become an option as we could progress closer to that January. Now, on the topic of signing a midfielder, we do also have some reports coming in about the summer transfer window for Barcelona, and who will the number one priority be? And according to reports, it will be Martin Zubimendi. Sport have come out saying that Barcelona have decided to sign Martin Zubimendi next summer. It's their absolute priority, and work has already begun on his arrival. I wish, man. I was reading some things on Twitter saying that Xavi's most expensive signing so far as the Barcelona manager has been Raphinha for, I think, 56 million euros. The fact that we've been signing world-class players for such an affordable price is, a beautiful sight to see. Zubimendi fits right in that category. 60 million euro release clause, best pivot available for Barcelona. It is an absolutely no-brainer in my opinion. He's matured a lot at Sociedad. He fits into the core that we have. I think he's the age of 24, 25 Zubimendi. He fits into that area as well with our team. For me, it's just, you cannot get more of a perfect signing for Barcelona than Zubimendi. If you told me right now, sign any player in the world that's realistic, it would be Zubimendi. If I could sign any player in the world that's not realistic, it would be Rodri, of course. But I think Zubimendi is the perfect option for Barcelona, and hopefully this is the case. But I'm not counting my chickens quite yet. We'll wait and see how we look in the summer. The budget, we have some renewals sorted out by then. Pedri, Gavi, Araujo, De Jong. By the way, Barcelona should be focusing on Gavi's renewal now, especially with him being injured. So we'll wait and see what happens. But for now, it looks like Barcelona's number one target for the summer transfer window coming up is Martin Zubimendi. Now, Giovani Lo Celso isn't the only Tottenham Hotspur player we have been linked with. There is another player as well, and this all comes from Tottenham showing very, very strong interest in Raphinha. The Daily Mail have come out saying that Tottenham are very keen on a move for Barcelona's Raphinha in the January transfer window, according to reports in Spain and even in the UK as well. I've seen some reports as well. For Tottenham to get Raphinha in January, for me, how I see it, based on, my expertise, they have to offer 70-80 million euros. Because if I were to sell Raphinha in the summer, I'd ask for what we bought for him, so 55-60. January premium, I'd ask for 10 million on top of that because we're in the middle of the season. So 70-80, I think the club would definitely look into it. But of course, Barcelona do like some Tottenham players, and Tottenham don't have exactly 80 million euros to chuck at Raphinha. And they are offering a player return, and that is Cristian Romero. Sport have come out saying that Tottenham want to sign Raphinha this summer, and Barcelona want 70 million euros for him, I think, in the summer. However, Tottenham won't pay that amount, so they're offering players in exchange. Cristian Romero is a name on the table. Now, in the comments down below, would you straight swap Raphinha and Cristian Romero? Look, I love Romero. I think he's a brilliant center back, and I was dying for him when he was at Atalanta. I remember those reports back in the day. He was linked with Barcelona for like, what, 2 weeks, a week and a half before he signed with Tottenham. I was praying we signed him. This is a big fat no for me. Firstly, I think Raphinha is valued higher than Romero. I would value Raphinha at 70. I'd value Romero at around 50. So I would expect Tottenham to throw in some money on top of that as well. Secondly, we are so well covered at center back. Araujo, Koundé, Christensen, Inigo Martinez, Eric Garcia, Mikel Fay, Kobrasi. We are so secured at center back to the point that if you sign Cristian Romero, you would have to sell 3 players, whether it's Mikel Fay, Kobrasi, Eric Garcia, let Inigo go, sell Christensen. I don't know, but I think we're so stacked at center back to the point that we don't need Romero, and I would much rather just take straight cash from Tottenham. So we'll wait and see. Again, Raphinha very adamant that he wants to stay at Barcelona. I think he has a big chance, big opportunity now with Gavi's injury. He needs to come into that interior and perform very well. I think right now, this moment from now until the end of the season, until December, not end of the season, sorry, end of the year, December 20th, will define Raphinha's career. Hopefully he stays fit. Define his career at Barcelona. He needs to come in, play well, whether he plays as a right winger, whether he plays on the left, or hopefully when he plays in the number 8, he needs to perform. But Tottenham are showing that interest, so Barcelona do have somewhat of a way out this summer if they do want it, and they are offering some players in exchange as well. We heard some Lo Celso reports as well involved in this Raphinha switch. Let me know in the comments down below if you would do that. But for now, Tottenham show interest in Raphinha, but for now, Barcelona are only asking for cash. Now, if Raphinha is sold, of course, Barcelona will have to go out there and sign a replacement. And one of the wings that we have been linked heavily with over the past few weeks, I would say, is Leroy Sane. Sport have come out saying again that Barcelona and Real Madrid are considering a move for Bayern Munich's winger Leroy Sane. I will say this will be the final time I speak about Leroy Sane, because I think all these rumors are just all crap, just because he's about to, get into talks to renew with Bayern Munich. I think Fabrizio Romano came out saying that talks are beginning now between Bayern and Leroy Sane to kind of, figure out a deal. And also, I think Luis Diaz is way better than Sane, and I'd much rather have him over Sane, although Diaz isn't available. Sane is, especially if Sane is for free, then of course that opens up the door for sure. But I think this is just all crap from his agent, just to get some interest in there to jack up his contract. Bada bing, bada boom, he gets more money, stays in Munich. I'm not really interested in this for now, because I don't really see it as a viable possibility. But keep your eyes on Leroy Sane's situation. I think Barcelona are definitely interested in the player. He's having an unbelievable season so far. Xavi loves these pure wingers. He's been linked with him and also, of course, Kingsley Coman for quite some time now. So keep your eyes on the situation and how his development goes for his renewal with Bayern Munich. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. Apart from the little bit of links with Raphinha, we have another player that could be leaving the club earlier than expected. And it is Oriol Romeu, of course, our only natural pivot at the club. And Tony Juan Martinez come out saying that Barcelona don't see Oriol Romeu's future at the club very clearly. Again, now we had some reports about his return to Girona. The Girona sporting director said that he's taken back in a heartbeat. The current Girona players saying that he was a massive loss last summer. They would take him back in an open heartbeat. Look, Romeu is just not top level player. I think he can do a job here and there against mid to lower opposition sides at home, but we've seen very evidently this season he's just not up to scratch. He was a very emergency signing for Barcelona after looking at all the profiles that were attainable. He was the best one, which I understand, but I think he has no future at Barcelona whatsoever. If we can sell him this summer, That would be brilliant. If I'm Corona, I'm like, look, we paid 3.4 for him. Just give us 3 million. So we take a 400k loss. He's all yours. I think most likely the club will probably let him go for free, if I'm being honest, if we're looking at it from a realistic point of view. But I'd love to sell Romeu this summer, especially if we can get Martin Zubimendi. Maybe whoever we sign in January as an emergency signing can play that pivot backup along with Gundogan and Frankie de Jong as well. So if you sign, for example, let's say Lo Celso in January or Thiago, you can sign them permanently, move on Romeu in the summer, bring in Zubimendi and still have that player in there. Look, Deco, man, I'm giving you free planning here. It's just magical. Anyways, we'll wait and see with Romeu. I think, of course, he's going to stay for the entirety of this season. Hopefully, he can put a shift in when we do call upon him. But for now, the club does have a lot of doubts on his future. Let's now take a look at some of the news around Barcelona over the past 48 hours. One of the biggest news for me has been the reports about Alejandro Balde. Now, firstly, there have been some niggling rumors that Barcelona might sell him this summer. Absolute shite. Pure shite. But this one is interesting. Tony Juan Martí again coming out with the news. Don't really agree with Tony Juan Martí a lot, but this for me is absolutely spot on. He's come out saying that Barcelona are worried by Alejandro Balde's recent performances. The club thinks that he has been too relaxed since the start of the season and are keeping a close eye on his development. The main reason why Barcelona think Alejandro Balde hasn't been doing quite well in the past month is the lack of competition. He knows 100%, even if he has a broken leg, he will be starting at left back ahead of Marcos Alonso. Keep in mind, Alonso has started, I think, 2 or 3 games this season. Every single time he starts, hour off, Balde's in. Because Marcos Alonso, by the way, shite. I've seen reports from Marcos saying that, Alonso might leave in the summer. Get stuffed. Get out of here. I might leave in the summer. I'm not happy with my minutes. Right off. Anyways, with Balde, he needs competition. We saw him last season. He had Jordi Alba breathing down his neck, coming in, performing week in, week out to perfection. Now he's a bit comfortable. It's been dropping off recently. I think that niggling discomfort also has an effect as well, because Xavi didn't start him for about 1 or 2 games. He brought him back in. He wasn't really up to the races. Then we lost to Shakhtar. He's like, Balde, you gotta come straight back in. He wasn't really doing the best. I think even against he was doing so poor to the fact that Xavi put Araujo right back and Cancelo left back, and now hopefully that wakes up the door for Balde. He's down now, international break off as well, which can be good for him. So hopefully he comes back into it. But this is why competition is important. And one of the biggest mistakes of the previous board directors, Mateo Alemán and Jordi Cruyff, along with the renewal of Alonso, was not signing Alejandro Balde for free last summer. That is one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, hopefully Balde does come to his own with the pressure now that's building in the media from the fans and the performances that hopefully will help him from the lack of competition from Marcos Alonso. But again, with Balde now having the international break off, hopefully he comes back and performs at the absolute highest level. Now, the final topic that I wanted to discuss before I end off this video is give you guys other injury updates around the first team at Barcelona, apart from Gavi, of course. Now, we do have 2 players that are very needed for this weekend's match against Rayo Vallecano on Saturday that are now very much in doubt. Firstly is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Of course, he did pull out with Germany's international duty with the back pain. He came back to Barcelona, I think, a few days ago, and you'll be having his tests later on today. But Ferran Martinez from Mundo Deportivo is saying that ter Stegen did not train with the group yesterday and remains a doubt for the match against Vallecano, but the final decision will be made tomorrow. Look, we're hearing a lot of reports. ter Stegen's fine. Ramiro said ter Stegen's fine. Juan Martí said ter Stegen's fine. Alex Pentel from Relevo, ter Stegen's fine. So hopefully he can play. Again, I wouldn't bat an eye about Inaki Peña coming in for 1 game. Of course, this is his first game of the season, so there will be the bit of doubt and question marks. As long as ter Stegen's back for Porto, I'm okay. Also, I do want to see Araujo just lead out the team as the captain against Vallecano. That wallpaper is going to look hella nice. Nonetheless, we'll wait and see what ter Stegen. Again, it's nothing serious. Worst case scenario, he'll miss this weekend's game against Vallecano, but he should be back for Porto 100%. But we'll wait and see if he gets over the line for this weekend. Another player in doubt for this weekend is, of course, Frankie de Jong. But the news around Frankie de Jong has been very positive. He returned to first team training a few days ago. He's been training very well with the team, completing the full training sessions. But of course, the question is coming in about his fiance, who I think is giving birth either tomorrow or after tomorrow. So if the birth comes through then he might not be able to make it for Vallecano. He did miss training yesterday on Tuesday from permission granted from the club as well. So I don't know what's happening there. I think his wife is probably going into labor soon. We all knew it was going to happen around sometimes this week. So this is no surprised. So I think if Frenkie de Jong does not make the list this weekend for Rayo Vallecano, it won't be because he's injured. It'll be because, of course, the birth of his first son. So I'll wait and see with that. But for now, de Jong is likely to be in the squad list to face Rayo Vallecano on Saturday based on his fitness. So that's, of course, positive signs. We do need de Jong to be back, but we have to ease him into it. We can't just rush him back and put him as a starter because cannot afford to suffer if their injuries. So for this Saturday game, we do have some doubts for injuries, of course, in Ter Stegen and de Jong, but hopefully there's still definitely a possibility that both of them can make it for this game, but there's also a big possibility that both of them don't make it for this game. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course, leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. But the main thing I want to know, of course, is about the January transfer window. What would be your plan? Would you go for a midfielder and Vitor Roque, just a midfielder, or just Vitor Roque? And what are your predictions on what the club will do in the January transfer window? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.